Learning the curse. Learning the curse.
Welcome to the classroom, motherfuckers. This is Learning the Curse with Adam and Chuck.
Take the pick of the dick.
Right in the dicky.
Right in the long clip.
Right in the piggy's dicky.
The piggy's shit.
And we're back.
Think with your big stick, Jimmy.
Slava lives with me now. He's been here for weeks. We're going to do an impromptu episode. We still have donuts.
Impromptu.
We still have donuts.
I don't think that they are
I promise
buying
you, I'll
into the
fucking sweep
illusion.
this floor today, but before I leave, this thing kind of broke
It
up on me,
powdered.
but that's not looking bad, but
You dropped
Take
some
it.
cocaine.
The floor is
dude, if that
Slava
was
and-
cocaine and I had some, I would probably be on the floor licking it off. You know, it's one of those things.
Right.
But
So,
cocaine. We have an impromptu about, so disinfo agents.
yep.
They are running rampant. They're going to people like the UFO communities and spreading lies just to get to discredit them.
Right.
You send them off in all these different directions and bring
Yeah.
up all these wild claims just to make them look more foolish.
Right. Do
Now-
you think that Alex Jones is a disinfo agent?
He's just getting paid off
talk,
of
dude.
Yeah.
It's talk,
Yeah.
man. You're
Yeah.
entertaining. You're fucking routing people up, dude. It's
I
talk.
honestly don't think he buys a quarter of the bullshit he spews.
Yeah.
So in a sense, he is kind of like a disinfo agent. But my question today, and this is going to be one hell of a spitball, could we potentially
Turn the frogs gay.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that
turning
guy.
the
Yeah,
frog.
that guy is he does that. But go on. Sorry.
Could we possibly use disinfo in a positive way? It's a lie. It's creating more LARPs.
It
It's
is.
creating more false realities.
Here's-
But could we do it to?
I got a perfect example.
I think we could. I don't think we
States
need
right
to.
now.
We don't need to, though.
You know,
but it'd be fun to
United States
discuss.
right now.
Yeah.
And we're
Come
going to
on. We
discuss
gotta-
today. On
No, I mean that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel about it. I think that we definitely can, and I think that we already do.
We're
but
doing it.
I don't think that we need to. I think
it's
we
smarter choice.
Well, I think that it's a.
Dishonest.
I think it's the disinfo agents
Practicing-
or the agencies that spread disinformation. I think that it's their naivety, believing that us as a species is not ready, and maybe some of us aren't, and maybe the majority of us aren't.
But the practice of manipulating others, dude, it's
I know, but that
really
I think
fucked
it's a power trip.
Yeah.
it's one of the things. It's
Controlling the information.
Yeah.
Spreading disinformation.
And again, I think it comes back to one thing I've said before about altruism.
yes.
Like a no real selfless act.
No.
So somebody might be spreading this disinformation seemingly selfless, not for themselves, but for the greater good of humanity.
But it's ego trip to them.
But yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie. If
They're-
I could do something, no matter how good for humanity, I'm still going to get a little ego trip from it.
so,
Right.
So I hope
gonna
this
be awesome.
doesn't go too far, but whatever. Those fuckers deserve to hear it. Anyway, there is a particular.
You know who you are.
Anyway, particular types of individuals are trained to audit people, and what they do, they audit them on the basis of what their skill levels are. And the thing is, there's a positive thing of learning how to test yourself to see where you can improve in every area, or how you should approach to their life, how you should approach to life.
And it's a positive way for
And
learning how to
technically,
curse.
Yeah, you learn. Well, yeah, you learn, but you learn in a constructive criticism instead of bullshit out there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you're practicing it doing negatively, you're not only trying to just manipulate the crowd against their will, or not even knowing that there is no will, because they don't know that shit is happening.
They don't know something's being.
So you're in practice of a malicious act, and I call it malicious because there is no right to the subject that has equivalent or maybe even more valuable thought process that can be challenged in your level to control, because there's a amount of selfishness that goes into this act that technically disregards anyone's rights, because that selfishness is doesn't have to let it know, it can just let it. It's kind of like, it's a fucked up thing that we should not practice, because if it goes into light, that means we didn't learn the lesson the true way. We learned the lesson through fucking destruction. It's not like we just did. That's where I think might be more successful if we're learning these lessons or practicing these lessons and these fucking things.
That one's got a butthole on
being
it. Little pink butthole.
In trying to be realistic. I know that some of us sometimes have difference in what reality is, and we all believe one thing. We don't see the apple the same way. Each individual, and just in
Isaac Newton didn't either.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we look at the donuts. These guys said like it's a week old donut. For a second, I stopped, but then I was like, dude, I don't fucking care if it's a week old. I fucking eat donuts anyway, dude. Like, I fucking shout down like a.
No, we just got him this morning.
Seriously,
he's trying to lie to our audience. And
dude, but
like they already caught on to our ruse.
Those actually, I thought it was dry for a second. I was like, and then I was like, dude, it's actually kind of good, but.
Yeah. Oh, I moistened it before you got here. Wink.
So this pre-assumptive judgment is now becoming fear, or maybe that stagnant back thing where I'm like, you're technically now just if you believe that that's that, and you have a thing against old donuts. Well, damn.
Or if you got a thing for old donuts.
Yeah,
like in a kinky sexual way.
Here's the thing. I mean, yes, a lie is a lie. But is there a way that we could spin it that it would be a positive thing for humanity?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, regardless
is the government already doing that to us? Has religion already done that to us?
Well, I mean, what I was saying before isn't that it's a negative.
Yeah.
There's no negative connotations in it. I think that
other than it's a lie.
I don't even care about that.
It's truth or distorting of truth.
The negative and connotation is losing the privilege to control your own environment.
Right. Well, I mean, what I was saying is that like, it can have a positive effect. I just don't think it's necessary. Not all positive things are necessary.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's unnecessary.
And it's going against people's will.
Yeah.
Whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
But public practice that catches people attentions to that level, it will start deteriorating the whole idea.
Deteriorating the whole. That's rape.
It's exactly. Exactly that's what it is. It's gonna show us that we like, who fucking knew that person was asleep? Like, that's fucking rape. You know. So that's the thing. It's like if that person
you pronounced that wrong.
Okay,
pronounced rape.
I totally like got thrown off.
I'm fucking around.
It's a joke we have. You pronounce that wrong. It's pronounced rape.
No, I just seriously, I went like a lab on you guys. The second you said it, it's like I was just like, squirrel. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Like the next time Slava's on the show, he'll just be like throwing out
it was more off topic that I was like,
he's gonna call Adam a bearded pepper and call me a weedy and tell me I pronounced it wrong.
Well, I like to hear funny shit. Like, it's sometimes when a swear word or something offensive goes out. Like, I want to hear it,
especially the rapier.
Well, no,
rapier and rapier.
One. It's like, it's alarming.
We were sword fighting,
and now it's just like
that's why I think it's funny is that it's alarming.
If it's
you're a euphemism.
Like,
you know what a meadow's for?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't even know. Like, I was going with a different topic.
He does not know what's going on.
7 minutes in. Welcome to Learning and Curse, and we're keeping all that.
No, dude,
I am not Chuck.
I'm not Adam.
And I don't know what the fuck I am, dude. I like to keep going with that one.
So we just...
He's not Jeremy.
We're... Call back.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't Slava on another episode because you weren't here, and now he's not here.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Getting serious again if we can.
Sure.
But yeah.
If we can.
Azure.
Yes.
All right, as you're going.
Yeah. So.
Namaste.
Just like we brought up before, the possibility that God itself within the confines of religion is kind of like a tulpa.
Yeah.
People are feeding something.
Yeah, of course.
So that
can we possibly feed an entire reality tulpa?
Yep.
I think so.
Yep, exactly. Actually, that's
Create
something
a tulpa. I mean, because that isn't religion already doing that?
Tulpa Cabana.
I practice particular acts, not because of any
Tantra.
Good. That's one I really want to practice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Though fucking gotta tell you that playing the god, the part that makes me not religious in my own way, which makes it'll probably frustrate my family. But I wanted to let you know that I don't want to be a good person because of a fear of something. But
exactly, you shouldn't have to.
You got to practice. That godly part that's become part of our culture and which lives within each and every one of us.
I was going to say, it's something that comes from within, though.
I kind of get what you're saying there, but I don't think that it's a God part. I think that it's a humanity part.
And it is.
But one person's humanity part is another person's God part. I think it's just a relative
the part
thing.
Humanity.
It's what we label.
I know.
It's what we label.
It's the part humanity craves because it only builds.
Yeah.
It creates a better example.
The only way that it only
And
builds
it
is if
also
you're not
shows-
taking from yourself to provide
shows
that.
control.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you have to be a whole person in order to provide that light to the world and be a positive influence. You can't be a positive influence for long. You'll burn out too quickly.
Yeah.
If you're
You have
giving
to
of yourself so much that you can't maintain yourself, but you're still giving of yourself to others.
the one of the positive takeaways, and we're still doing the Jesus episode eventually, but one of the positive takeaways from the whole Jesus story is teaching people to become fishermen themselves instead of fishing for all these people. And like you're saying,
that's key.
One person's going to burn themselves out trying to be a messiah to everybody.
Right.
But if that one person can create this big LARP, this reality where they instill this in everybody or bring it out, or rather bring it out of everybody.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of him. I was thinking of Scientology on the same picture. But
Excuse me.
if one person could, in secret or very publicly, bring it out of people, because it's not so much instilling it, because it's already within them, bringing it out of them to where they do it themselves, rather than this one person taking on the burden of helping all these people.
And I think that's a very beautiful part about it is that they try to act so that, the certain individuals try to act to bring it out, and that's practicing that godly part and trying to be the positive. And truly, even if from a scientific perspective, because I've tried to approach reality in this, where I could be completely possessive in things and be very defensive about and the territorial, but
If I were to try and take your steel reserve?
dude, fuck yeah, man, I'll slap that shit the fuck out of you faster than you fucking know it.
Yes. By the way, Slava has joined us once again, and his Steel Reserve 42 ounce has joined us once again as well.
Oh, yeah.
10-4. One of the things I wanted
And
to
RC Cola.
Yes. Oh, dude, fucking RC Cola, man. Like that just brought some great memories.
yes.
But
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know, though, it's the practice that we're trying to do better. Even if you approach it from a scientific perspective, just try to see how it comes out. The odds of it is exactly the same way it's been put out there in the first place. So technically, if you don't, you can think of it, and then one day, eventually, you will act. If you think of it over and over again, which is thought manifesting.
Oh, yeah.
But if you do it right now and act on it, and it will reflect to show that example to more people instead of just saying and sharing it, but they will see it.
They'll see it in action. They'll see these thoughts in action.
And so imagine after that, it influenced them, but the practice itself first, even self-preservation, it was beautiful because the more you practice to do it on the fucking shittiest day, you will see one thing that will make you fucking smile. It's unbelievable how much. Like, I was going through one of my shitty moments with my ex, and it was one day we showed up. We thought we had a bunch of cash. We show up and we're fucking flat broke, and we just have a lot of crap in front of us, and we're like, oh, damn. We were pigs, but we both kind of promote always give $1 here or do that. But we're practicing just practicing good. I practice good. I encourage her to practice good, and one lady behind us just fucking said, I'll buy it for all of you. I was like, at this moment, we are pieces of shit of human being to even interact with with anyone else, and even with ourselves, we're worse. We're 20 times worse. But what happens?
Your act of kindness inspired more acts of kindness.
And just to see that my acts of kindness, all of a sudden, the one day, we really are a shitty being, someone does something good, it starts making you think, maybe it's never too late to do this, but we're too late to do that. But it's just the outcome of it starts becoming more visible. You see that reflection in others. And dude, you get a moment out of it, man. It's like your shitty day can improve by one more reality.
Yeah. Well, so, as hard as it is for people to believe, because a lot of times we go on autopilot with our feelings. We do. We choose ultimately, whether consciously or subconsciously, how we decide to feel about something.
Exactly.
No matter how hard that is for people to believe, we're deciding either on autopilot or very consciously how we're going to react to something. And the autopilot is the conditioning we get. Yes. It's that subconscious mind that fucking says that I'm a stereotype, I'm this or that. And that's because my pre-experience was judgment-based of what I've seen. Yeah.
And what we see a lot. And those,
how we are reactively is based on our historically on our experiences.
And that's one of the things, like, where the individual's deprived of those feelings. Like, really close person to me. She was one of my. She couldn't hear, but the way she perceived it with beauty, like life with beauty a little more. So, like, you create this extra sensory, and so that's the thing, because we see it's a stereotype we can practice, that we can fucking throw in there, you know. It's
Poses his stereotype.
no, but it's the thing. It's a practice. It's a practice of good.
Pioneer.
I practiced good at that time, and I know she practiced good. But we also like were manipulators at that time. That's why we did not deserve that lady fucking paying for us.
Yeah.
We did not deserve to fucking be in public. Like, we should have been the fuck away from each other. And for some reason, just her awesome act of kindness that replayed the action and make us like rebalance. It's like, okay, maybe we should go about it, become a little bit friendlier, and maybe be cool. Her coolness.
So initially,
Chill.
you had an act of kindness. This person, I guess you could say this, bestowed an act of kindness on you, and then that further inspired you.
It's actually no, but it's inspiring once you start seeing the outcome, because the very beginning of it is going to be, you're going to have to put that shit out there when your shittiest moment.
Yeah.
And so that's where your reality, you're playing that part of God, is when you are willing to take any fucking losses, anything, and whether it be a massive loss to a massive victory in the most dignified way you can. Do it with manner, and do it with. I mean, like, who the fuck wants to see a winner who just goes around like, "Fuck you, yeah!" I mean, like, everyone loves it, but you don't see the inner being other than some piece of shit just won this fucking thing, dude. And he's rubbing it. No, it's you're like, well, this guy's immature. Maybe he was beaten down too many times to not even expect it. So now you become that God part, because you see the outside scenario of it, where you could have just been a one. Dude, why the fuck is this guy being an asshole? I mean, like, this guy lost because he's fucking weaker than him. You should have been supportive, you know? But now you're that other person that's like, okay, so am I seeing it from the right part? And just the outcome of it is unbelievable. But the practice itself, it takes time to weave it into your own reality. But once it gets practiced long enough, it becomes your reality.
Yeah.
Like, our mom, she does not swear. Like, my mom, my brother's mom, she doesn't swear. She always led a great example. I've heard her swear once to say fuck, and that was it. And it was because I think she didn't even say it in an angry way. That was like, if she said swear, she'd be like, damn.
It was
like
disinformation.
But it was like, it was just pissed. I asked her the other day, it's like, what makes you that way? She's like, I feel like it's actually, that's what she said, rape. Because I feel like it's an assaulting word, and I don't want that word being applied in any way to me.
No.
So it's like, I feel like it's a sexual assaulting word, because technically most of the swear words are fucking sexually made. But we're not here to like misjudge this one. And I told her, I was like, Mom, you know, it is also freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You got to respect that a person is an idiot. You can't, just like you taught me how to drive, to expect that everyone around you is going to fail. So be aware. That's how cautiously you should be aware behind the wheel. Even though I was a fuck up, but that was because my own choices to go outside my own way. Blind decisions do that, but to be honest, it was the lesson that kind of practiced into my reality. So I think, like, of anything, like, she kind of inspired me in that way. And I've had to mentor her before, and she mentored me before. But fortunately, she keeps that thing where it's like, I'm your mom. You fucking remember that. My brother is fucking...
She pulled rank on you.
Dude, my brother is 38 years old, a former lieutenant in Ukrainian military. And it was... Dude, they would not fucking stop, man. So the cool part is that she's practicing the role of a parent.
Yes.
That you gotta learn the fucking lesson. So if you're like...
Isn't Lieutenant David Tennant's dad?
Who did... What?
Lou. Louis Tennant.
Yes.
Louis Tennant. I wonder how that goes.
Louis is a tenant
Yep.
of someplace.
So we were talking about disinformation.
And reality. So they're playing the God part, the negative God part, the bad example, the fucking one thing that kept on feeding it. And like you guys said it, I think it's a fucking cool thing. It's cool, like, to to really make people aware, at least, that there's bullshit out there.
Yeah.
But also,
I could smell it.
truly it's an easy way. I mean, if you're stuck in that situation, but you want to help the society and you think that you're feeling good about it, don't use it. Like, try to be more exemplar. If it's necessary evil,
yes,
a very interesting term.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of
evil?
that? Like,
evil, good and evil is relative. It's always.
But it's necessary
thing.
evil to fucking survive.
Yes.
How far are you willing to like push it outside your borders? Like, what do you think, Chuck?
I'm willing to push things as far.
I don't believe.
I was just gonna take it. No, go ahead.
I don't believe that necessary evil is the correct way to approach it. I don't.
How much
I don't
thing,
think it's that black and white. You might look at it as a negative thing that's happening.
How about how much it impacts other people's will?
I'm translating it and how they would accept it if if
people look at things in terms of black and white, good and evil.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Okay.
make it more
So
black and white.
I mean, as a necessary, quote unquote evil. Yeah, I mean, I think I can see the usefulness of it. Yeah. I would be a fool and naive to say that there's no usefulness of the practice. It's definitely demonstrated to be useful.
Yeah.
Again, I'm back to what I was saying before. I don't think it's necessary.
No.
But I can also appreciate and understand the reason why somebody might think it's necessary. I think that just foregoing all of that and just allowing things to happen without providing that barrier of defense with the disinformation, I think just allowing it to happen allows a more natural progression of how we proceed. It's the fight or flight mentality. If we are faced with that reality, we may turn tail and run away and not face it anymore, knowing that it's there and just be terrified and never progressing, or we face it head on and we deal with how to move forward with this correct factual information.
Positive intake on this, Chuck. That was actually very positive. The reason why I say that, it is a practice right now. There's a funny thing. I read an article not so long ago about actually it was about a year ago, but there's a professor that tried this fucking thing with his class. Put your bullshit together of like relating stories from that particular century and come up with one fucking solid thing. And I was just telling Adam earlier, I no longer believe in history because like one of our other talks, we straight up said it's a telephone game.
Yeah.
So the part about it is it does.
History is dictated by the winners of wars.
So what this guy did,
sure.
he fucking straight up got his class into assignment of coming up with bullshit story and see if they can fucking Wikipedia that shit.
Make it a Wikipedia article?
What he was training the kids to do, though, that was the best part. Yeah, make a Wikipedia article. Like, fuck, down to that sad. Yeah, it's like... But,
I've thought about doing that, actually.
And
making something up completely and submitting it, like, very...
Disinfo! What we're talking about,
like
creating... And that alone, putting something like that out into reality... creates a new reality for people.
Right. So that kind of goes towards like
look at the Slender Man
the media
pop.
circus we were talking about before, providing that disinformation, lessening the blow.
And that's what that professor was doing. He was actually trying to like teach the people how to welcome that shit and be like, hey, you guys, be aware. This is the info you're getting.
Right.
You're not just fucking studying here in college to like fucking.
Was this a sociology class? What?
No, it was. It might actually been sociology. It was no, it was
or psychology.
It was
sort of mental.
It was something
thought
amongst
experiment
research.
Class?
It was a. What did they try? No, it was history. Actually, it was a history class.
Yeah.
He had to
that
approach
makes
it that
sense
way.
too,
That's like a necessary
just
thing.
to let them know, like, don't just because it's written and concrete doesn't mean that
it
is definitely written.
Yeah.
And this isn't a forgery. But
it's
that
one
doesn't mean
perspective.
that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
And it's only one perspective.
Yeah, and like if you're going a little bit past our camera times, how the fuck would you know that?
We brought it up on a prior episode, but don't get all your news from one source.
Right.
Because it's not going to be...
And don't get all your sores from one slut.
Yes.
And don't go chasing waterfalls.
Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
Okay. So be open-minded. That awareness and that
Free
kind
your
of,
mind. We already did that one.
But
I'm
being
swallowing
My
donuts.
jism.
donuts, that was a very good donut. I'm really gonna go.
Have another one.
That one wasn't glazed when I got here.
I like, dude. That was my second choice on this one. Maybe it's my first now. But
Like that one's got all those little buttholes on it.
First on this episode.
buttholes. Just had to ruin that one. Nice.
Awesome.
Motorboat your butt cheeks. Buttholes.
To our listeners, if you ever don't understand what the hell we're saying, you have to listen to all the episodes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you do.
We do this shit intentionally, so you listen to everything.
Right.
It's a serialized show.
Put you outside
It
your
is.
outside your comfort zone there, didn't it?
I don't know. It depends on what you're comfortable with.
True. Yeah.
Do you like length or width?
You know, some people find
You want to narrow
You know,
your
the-
vertices?
some people find rough objects a little bit on the softer side. So whatever. Dog.
Yeah. Come see the softer side of Sears. That's rape.
That is.
All right, we need to. Yeah.
I'm at my breaking point. Back
we're
to life. Back to reality.
Speaking of reality, we're gonna demonstrate how three guys can get together.
And have an orgy.
Yes. Whoop. Back to the Get the KY. But how three people could create a LARP or another reality
Yeah.
or spread disinfo or come up with wild ideas that people can run with, and it just change the course of things. You know, like
Yeah.
manipulating what you think. Okay, because time. We base it on where we are relative to everything else.
Yeah, but mostly relative to our own sun.
Yes.
And the way that we rotate around it.
Yeah. But that doesn't hold across the universe.
No, it doesn't.
So it is a localized, subjective reality for us. So time can be completely turned on its head. I mean, there are different ways of measuring, like calendars. There have been different calendars in different civilizations.
But how do we relate?
Yeah.
One of the great things that Adam is pointing out, we're right now we're going to try to show the fact that if you find a way to relate with these concepts that hold your existence in its hands, like let's say time. An example I gave these guys here a moment ago was Stephen King wrote this interesting book that I read when I was trying to inspire writing my own, and it was technically his memoirs. It's on writing. That's what it was called, and he says here's the mastery behind it, and think about it this way. He says, who knows where the hell you're where the hell you are or something like that, and because. You didn't know that I'm right now in 1997 writing this fucking book for you. So you're reading this, you might be in way different, different place or different time. That right there was an act of pure awareness, and to be part of one with everything is to actually.
That is a form of communication that is essentially
it's a one-sided
transcending space and time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how we relate.
And understanding, because everybody's going to understand what he said a little differently.
So how do these people that believe in those non-believers that fuck shit up or at least like to fuck with you, how do they respond to this method? Would you be able to create this particular thing? And we were gonna try to do it ourselves. We'll try to let's say we'll start with time, just an easier once you start.
Well, Chuck brought up a good point about how to cut. What if we cut units of time in half? But still
if
call
we
it
just
the same
changed
thing?
the measurement of time, but still called it the same thing. Say if we changed 1 hour to a half hour.
still
but
called
still
it an
called
hour?
it an hour and still
Yeah.
said that those 30 minutes were actually 60 minutes.
Who could tell you you're wrong?
Right.
No one.
Yeah. If we were to just if we were to
Somebody created
if
the
there was a
original measurements of time.
I mean, if there was
there's a
a
measurement.
conspiracy way to do it, and I know most clocks are digital now and
Yeah.
can be controlled by a computer.
Atomic
and
clocks.
if you just change it to record 1 hour or 1 half hour as an entire hour.
Well, check this out. I always wondered about that, with atomic clocks, and then if we leave our phone to be updated by our provider on what time it is, because if you don't, it'll start going off of time. You'll comparative to other clocks,
So
it'll
we
be
pay
off by
others
minutes.
to fucking watch it for us.
Exactly. But but who's watching them?
Exactly.
Who's making sure that they're not manipulating time? We don't know.
yeah.
I mean, that's how fragile this idea, this concept of time is, because we don't know if people are manipulating it.
Yep. If we,
I mean, our concept of time currently is a human construct.
Yes.
here's the thing though,
Completely.
the more you can relate to it, the more I think you are more susceptible to manipulation.
Yeah. Well,
you're more likely to give in. I used to be one.
the
of
more
those.
power you give.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Instead of us being able to change that now, because it's already established, imagine when
All the people.
who constructed time as we know it now constructed it differently.
Yeah.
Or I heard about there was this company, and I can't remember where they were from, but this
The
was,
song "A New York
it was
Minute" might be turned into a New York Second.
or a New York Hour.
Yes, a New York Hour.
But there's this company, and I can't remember where it's from, so I hate it when I do these little anecdotal things that I can't recall what.
Oh, we don't want
all
to
the
promote them
details.
anyways.
But
Yeah.
well, no, what it is that one of the guys that worked there, they came up with, and it might have even been a government thing, but they came up with a 13-month calendar, and it was entirely, completely efficient.
Wow.
Yeah. And they weren't able to continue to use it when
Yeah.
they upgraded because it was invented or created back before
By
the advent of computers and more computer generated information. So you couldn't really mesh or meld those two calendars together. But that it just demonstrates right there that even looking at time as in an arbitrary thing such as the construction of the calendar, the months that we have, the days in those
structure, the
months,
system of the whole thing.
right? The whole system. It could have been at the beginning completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a fucking Mayan calendar.
I was just going to bring up the Mayan long count. I was just
And
thinking
it's
about
a
that.
fucking crazy thing. Yeah, you had it all thinking about that fucking thing.
Yeah,
'Cause it's a,
that
like,
calendar is
13-month
way
calendar.
different.
Right.
It's way different, but it's
And they
fucking,
incorporate astrology into this.
It
too.
has
and
more
us to look at it
accuracy
right
than
now,
ours does.
it's. Oh wow.
How to practice a Mayan astrology
it
book on my
literally-
table.
Us looking at that calendar right now, we don't look at it as a calendar. We can't see calendar there because
No.
we've got calendar in our head. It already exists.
But there's a form
But
of
if it were
system.
different, yeah.
It's
But it makes me wonder if currently if like back then they created something different, would our reality right now be different than it is?
Oh, I'm
Or
sure.
would it be
yeah,
similar?
example.
Well,
like,
look, in nothing, they're all fallible to a degree. Because I mean, even right now, with our calendar, as well as it works, and I'm grateful for it, we have leap year to compensate. I mean,
that's our fuck up. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Those guys are actually Mayans were closer to their shit because they were like there literally wasn't was by seconds, so some stupid like that. But it was well, stupid, of course. It was fucking.
we'll make our calendar longer
Well,
and
it's
it'll
like-
work itself out.
but
Because
it
of
was-
leap year,
it was more
when I
accurate
was
than
in
ours.
4th grade,
Or that
we
leap
had a
year.
student who was 2 years old.
Yeah, I know. I came across that as well.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah, and that was the funny thing that actually the leap year is fucking one thing that makes us look weak against the Mayans. Like some primitive culture that
You guys couldn't figure this out? It's just simple math, guys.
They realized a fucking weave of like our reality, which is time.
Oh, well, that 13-month calendar that I was talking about
Yeah.
did not have a leap year.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. The
that
Mayan
worked out
calendar-
the problem.
Yeah.
Mayan calendar is actually close, like 11 seconds off from not having a leap year.
Yeah.
It's like something fucking that stupid. dude.
But their leap year is like not every 4 years. It's like every 400
yeah.
years.
So
or something
imagine
like
they
that.
go to get that for 11 seconds or go into that cycle to get that
Yeah.
over and over
Yeah, yeah.
11 seconds.
In one Mayan's
take-
lifetime, it's a sound calendar.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's that's the thing.
It never
but-
changes
Yeah.
for them.
But technically, for us to even have that leap year in the Mayan calendar, that would have to happen. Like they would have to be because they're so close to correct. Probably about a good 1,000 years or some shit like that to get like I can't say a day, but still,
Yeah.
good amount just to get that leap year.
Yeah.
More
Yeah, yeah.
people in their civilization had never experienced
that's
the leap
the-
years
so
and hadn't
that's-
experienced it.
So that's the one time like the universe ever gets to tell him
Let's see
you're
something here.
you fucked up on your shit, or this is how weak your shit is.
You said 11 seconds, right?
It was something like that, dude. It was something
Okay.
crazy.
So let's see how we would.
I
do
mean,
this
we had a
math.
whole fucking day.
Yeah,
Four
we had a whole
times
fucking
every
day,
4
and
years.
That's the thing. That's what makes the difference. Is that they were close to accurate, but these guys could not fucking overcome their like angry shit, like fueled by
Okay, so it would
fights
be.
and fucking destruction and.
I think if my math is correct, it would be 0.3% of the day. 11 seconds would be 0.3% of one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on what we consider.
Yeah, so it was like
daily,
about
24
4. It's
hours.
almost a fourth. Oh no, almost 4.
No. 0.
Point
Point,
three.
so 0.03.
Just
0.03.
0.03.
Yeah, not 0.3. 0.03.
Fuck. So it's like 0.3%.
Yeah, 0.03%. Not 0.3%.
0.03.
Oh, 0.03%.
That's wow.
No,
Yeah.
it's a 0.03.
Yeah, 0.03.
No. It's 0.00003.
No.
Yeah, 3 zeros. Because percentages are they go back from 1 to.
Right, that was the percentage.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
0.03.
That's how long it took me to come hearing that.
if
Yeah.
it was the percentage, then
That is
0.03,
amazing.
then it is. Yeah, it's definitely the 3 zeros in there. So that's a.
It's
damn,
a lot.
it's trip.
It's a short amount, is what I'm trying
So
to get
like
at.
their margin of error was that fucking small comparison to us. A whole fucking flying day, and then 4 years later.
That begs the question. How did they figure that out? How did they
they figure it out?
extrapolate that? I mean, because that's a...
and
there's
you know
peop-
what they're fucking.
Those inhabitants didn't live that long. They didn't live 400 years.
and you know what
You
they
don't need
did?
to live 400 years. You need to live
they,
1 year.
They extrapolated.
Just like the Russians
You-
kind
you
of did
need to
during
live
the
1
wall.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
are gonna laugh at this.
And you can extrapolate from that
Yeah.
1 year.
During-
Maybe 2 to get like a comparison, but go ahead.
They did something that the Russians did. It was the funniest shit ever. During the Cold War, they did discover that fucking space pen, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why they did it? Because the pen didn't fucking work in like a zero gravity. and
Oh
shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, Somebody
The
was trying to
Russians-
create this like
Russians fucking
elaborate.
used the pencil,
Yeah, they
dude.
used a pencil. Somebody
You
was
know,
trying to
but-
create that elaborate pen
what
to
they-
write underwater.
You
or
know how
whatever.
they looked at their astrology?
Huh.
They didn't have to look up, dude. They were looking fucking down at the pool.
Yeah.
It reflected the fucking night sky, so they wouldn't need to fuck up their necks and just stare constantly up and be like fucking lightheaded after a while. No, they just like looked down and studied it. That's
Right.
why the fucking gigantic fucking pools and some fucking crazy pyramids. Because they knew how to party and I guess they had good.
Yeah, but
good
what-
Get
pool
the
parties.
astrologer over here to look in the pool.
Wouldn't it be backwards though?
But that's the
Yeah.
thing, though. Their
Very much.
underworld, their existence, like where we believe that we can be freed out into space or some shit like that, our soul goes flying. Their soul went in the ground because that's how they perceive they're gonna go into their next world. Is that reflection?
It's not
Yeah.
too far off from the truth. If you look at energy as the soul, the equivalent of the soul, and where does that heat and energy go?
Well, like I
It
said,
can
I mean,
rise to space, and
the heat itself is going to.
counter-reflection of non-existence.
but they're looking more in like the conscious way, like
Yeah.
a soul, like a conscious spirit soul thing.
The conscious soul is it's a very interesting debatable topic that it has energy, but where is that energy ends up? That's the only thing.
Question.
Yes, please.
Question. What were we talking about?
Back to time.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, we're creating a reality.
yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
so I think just manipulating time.
Time is easy to manipulate, so we
Yep.
would have that check.
Right. So
Check.
we've manipulated time in a way.
Can we manipulate space? Because if we manipulate how a person perceives the space that they're within,
Well, again, I think this is all having to do with measurements.
yes,
If we look at things in different perspectives, say what we thought, like on our scale right now, Earth is like what, 600. I don't know how many miles across it is.
yeah, off the top of my
600.
head,
I
don't
fucking know.
Yeah, something 6,000 something. like that.
It's a huge. It's basically the way that we're looking at the size of our planet. If we were to say it was the size of our current planet right now, we're the smallest size we know. Even though we know small, like, it's just infinite regress.
Yeah.
But we just changed the goalpost, or we moved the idea of that size to a lower scale, and think of us as like say an inch tall rather than 5 feet tall.
But think of the universe we have, which is within each other's mind. Every mind
Yeah.
is unique, and so how we perceive is how
Think
the
of-
universe exists in another
Right, but
reality.
I think a lot of it too, what messes with our reality. So if we already had an idea of size, and we're
Yes.
like, okay, well, we're basically microscopic,
But it's all
we're tiny.
relative.
So I think a lot of what scares people about the reality of space is the vastness and the hugeness.
The seemingly
and it's still,
infinite-
yes,
the infinite
like,
part of not versus
relatively,
the
it's
limit.
still huge. But if you can think of it in different terms of smaller scale,
Yeah.
you could be like, okay,
we're
well,
huge
I'm really
compared
tiny.
to relative to this.
It's not that it's really huge. It's that it's big, but I'm just really tiny. So
well, here's one thing that
it's serious.
squashes distance. Spooky action at a distance.
that's true. Quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics. So, to get people off of the fear of distance or being concerned with distance,
Spooky kabuki at a distance.
everything that's in existence is within existence. It's all
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
And it can be argued
That's
that
why
everything
I
has
say there's no
quantum
supernatural.
entanglement. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all natural. We just don't know what we can't explain it yet.
Right.
But we're still that mass.
Yeah.
We're that part. And the funny part about that is we're finding the opposite of ourselves. So think about it this way. When you guys come up with time, and I would definitely encourage the listeners to try this. Try to manipulate that energy by bringing out the opposite and how you would react to the opposite, but keep that open mind to experience completely opposite. Think about it like if you want to fuck with someone's reality, throw something they're not expected to. It will fucking go nuts. But do
like
it
when he
with
threw a coaster.
I did. I did do that.
Be realistic about it though. Like, what are you trying to do? If you do it on a positive thing, like we were talking earlier, like doing a positive, great. My ex and I were total pieces of shit, and at this point, and somebody decided to play a fucking great reality in front of us. Yeah, this lady mastered a fucking.
She manipulated your guys' reality.
She manipulated everything in that fucking matter. In fact, like I said, like I was discussing with you guys earlier, the time that I would feel time could be matter, as well. It's because of that matter. It's also like
and this individual manipulated your reality simply by just doing what she chose to do it in her reality.
Yep.
That's powerful. Now, what's to stop the three of us from going out in the world, having a similar idea that we agree on, and going out and changing the world?
The only problem is that we don't realize how misunderstanding we are. So like in a society instant to us right now that we interact in a daily basis, let's say our neighborhood, our community, they're more willing and accepting. Yeah. Now if we go into some other place,
it's foreign
that might be a foreigner, that might be offensive. Oh yeah. They're like, you want to fuck with my reality? I'm gonna fuck with you, dude. Like that's one of those things, you know. It's like some people might not take.
Well, and that's I think
if it doesn't come off as opposing.
Exactly.
That's why I think a lot of like
act,
super religious people, like people who are like very
they come off
dogmatic.
As opposing.
They don't want you messing with their reality. Like they get pissed off at people. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're so steadfast in your belief, my non-belief should have no effect on you.
You start to see the edges of their reality when they start reacting like that. I mean, it's like, what are you worried about?
I think what you're seeing is that they understand how, in a fundamental way, they understand how fragile their reality is.
It's just,
and they don't want it to crumble because they're happy with their cognitive dissonance.
Exactly. And what I'm trying to explain here to our listeners is we could easily just do the same thing they've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things.
What's to stop a person from going out right now and changing reality across the board?
Yep.
And people
it's being
I won't say falling for it, but buying into it.
Here's what makes it predictable. Practicing it on a level like that when you start weaving certain acts that takes a lot more effort. Like, for example, if you do like a shitty act, like let's say you do instead like disinfo, it's way different because disinfo has almost like a bounce back, a quick reaction that's like you just won, that's it, you enjoy it. So where if you were trying to do a good way,
that creates a separation.
Well, can I ask? I mean,
that's more of a bounce.
Are we basically coming to the conclusion that solipsism is the actual reality?
Yeah.
Meaning that, I mean, do you know what solipsism is?
No.
Basically the belief that
all there is you.
Yeah, you're the only thing that exists.
Okay, I buy into that in as far as this.
My understanding of reality is the only thing that exists.
Yeah, actually it is for a bit. It's a stage.
Yeah.
It's a stage, you guys. I've heard about that. That is a stage.
It's an internal thing.
I mean, there's hard solipsism where they believe that only one individual exists and everything else is just figment.
I just think that we're all individuations of the same thing. Because, for if there's a creator or not, the universe, everything in existence comes from the same source. So
that's true.
So in a sense,
yes,
solipsism works with that. But I don't buy that we're all here to facilitate one individual's reality.
Right, no, but what I think the way that it works, especially, I mean, and I don't know if this really does fit into the actual definition of solipsism, but my reality is the only reality that exists to me.
To you, yes, yeah.
I can't observe reality from your perspective.
No, yeah, definitely, never.
But that's a mature part of it. The one which you're explaining as well has an immature stage. There's actually a feeling, a real fucking feeling.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember the word.
There is
actually a word for it.
You start realizing that people actually have their own perspectives, and their individual and reality for them is a whole fucking different universe.
Yeah,
and it's a feeling of that discovery.
That's why you can't. For me, like. People, I used to say things all the time that offended and upset. I mean, it used to.
That's why we're all here, dude.
Used to.
In a different way.
I still do. But yeah, in a different way. And I had a conversation.
You're more conscious of it now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, I think
have a different conscious understanding.
I have a different a different perspective on it.
Yes.
But like, so, like, say I made a joke or whatever, and it offended somebody. A family member of mine said that. I'm responsible for how they reacted because I'm the one that said the words. And absolutely not am I responsible
they are
for
responsible for how
react.
they reacted to it.
Exactly. I will never take responsibility for how you behave. I will take responsibility for the things I say, and I will be responsible enough to understand that they are words and harm no one. And if your feelings get hurt by it, toughen the fuck up.
Yeah.
Damn straight. Damn fucking straight. You know, if you're,
It all
if
comes
you're-
to the individual being able to.
Yeah.
Do you think like back in the day when we started living like as just becoming maybe Neanderthals, maybe learning how to fucking just be civilized? Do you think we ate 90% of the food that was vegetation? We ate the fucking meat because that was
Yes.
the most edible thing.
Yeah.
And we ate about 98% of it. And
Well,
the
let's take a
reason-
look at our teeth.
Now
Omnivores.
today,
Yeah, we are
today,
omnivores.
I don't want to bash on anyone that does that because I found it's a very healthy practice to
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
not
But you
eat-
know what
each
else?
their own.
You know what
Yes.
else is a healthy practice? Okay. Do you know what a paleo diet is?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
basically, it's meat and proteins and things like that.
Yeah.
If you combine a true vegetarian diet, I was going to say vegan, but vegan is like you don't need unnatural shit.
Yeah.
Like us as human beings do not need to consume.
Was it
cow-
pescatarian if you were to do
What-
vegetarian with fish?
Yeah,
or
with fish.
Poyotarian or something like that?
Something
for,
like that.
For chicken and,
Yeah.
and veggies.
But if you were to combine a paleo diet and a vegan, or not a vegan, vegetarian with some vegan aspects.
Yes.
Because again, human beings don't need cheese.
No, they don't.
We don't need to drink cow milk.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't. It's
That was
not necessary.
But I fucking do.
If you really think about it, it's a very strange behavior we have
adult-
to drink milk. but we
Adult
do.
cows
Yeah.
do not drink milk.
Exactly.
That's why I love that part of the new Star Wars where fucking Luke Skywalker walks up to this like fucking gnarly ass animal and just like titty fucking like straight up fills his bottle and drinks it in front of you like it's a milk commercial.
But that's it. I mean, if you eat natural, and I don't mean like these non-GMOs,
Yeah.
these weird organic, that bullshit.
Grow
If you-
something and eat it.
Fuck you with your no GMOs.
Yes.
Look at corn. Corn is the byproduct of GMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is genetically modified by breeding and things like that to look as it does. The banana
Yes.
that you can buy
Did
in the
not
store
look
right now.
like-
There are wild bananas.
Yes. Look nothing like that.
The way the banana that you can buy at the store is basically a mule.
Yeah.
It's
Even the organic banana.
It cannot be reproduced.
Yes.
You have to create it.
Yeah.
You have to breed other banana trees
And we
to make
gas our
that banana
bananas.
you're eating. You can't take
Yeah.
those two bananas that you would buy at the store, though a tree from the trees that they're from, the fruits from them, and pollinate and grow
No.
another tree. You can't. It's
Yeah.
impossible. They're infertile.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the not genetic buildup, but the idea of
The idea of
creating-
genetically modified organisms.
Yeah.
or technically creating an AI in a way
As a
too.
bad thing.
Genetically modified organisms happen naturally.
Yeah.
They
Well,
don't. Yeah.
here's
or else
another
they
thing,
can't
too.
reproduce to go on. Like
Now,
they can't-
using
Yeah.
growth hormones
Yeah.
and things like that, I get. Stay away from that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
GMO, okay, here's a little tangent. And a lot of people vilify like Monsanto. While I don't completely agree with Monsanto.
I don't either.
It's
there are
once you say
ways
back
of
to the necessary evil, look at our population.
I know.
Do we have any other fucking
What do you
choice?
What do you want? Do you want Monsanto or do you want
Nothing.
Or do you want genocide?
Yes,
Because we're getting to a point where there's too many people on this fucking planet that we can't feed.
exactly.
So you're gonna Thanos
Yeah.
this shit, or
Yeah.
you're gonna let us grow some genetically modified
Exactly.
organisms?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that sometimes we can. That's the balance that we need to find out is if we do something like that, if we practice those fucking dark arts of our nature,
Yeah.
we need to fucking keep that shit to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not to be encouraged to be as a fucking good deed because that shit will be medieval within fucking days. Where
Somebody
you
will.
like some
The first
yeah.
person that disagrees with it is going to go on a campaign to make you look like a
Dude,
bad person
it's-
for what you're doing.
And that's the thing. It's
That's just how people are.
That's the sad part. But when you get the most, if you get people rowdied up, they don't know what the fuck they're doing until the message slightly
There's the.
simmers in there. You know,
I think
like-
here's the issue that I have with
Right, fucking
the
waste.
reality that I observe
Okay.
and also the why I believe that it can be individuals' reality and how they observe it can be easily manipulated would be because a majority of, like, individually, a person can be logical and rational and understanding. As a group, humanity has proven time and time again how naive and ignorant and illogical they are. Irrational.
And taking to laziness. Because a lot of people's it's not an inability to be logical for people. It's laziness.
Yeah.
Because they'll just take the answers other people will give them. They just go along with the ride instead of researching things themselves.
This goes back to, I think this goes back to the nature versus nurture shit.
They let their reality inform theirs.
I don't
because
100% agree with that, because I think that certain people can be born with a disposition to not understand.
Yeah. Well,
the act of
but they could be taught how to do it themselves.
But to a degree.
Yes.
Here's the
because
thing,
you can be taught the methods.
Yeah.
But the common sense to employ those methods has to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, or they could be cognitively delayed in one area or another.
Even the good teachings, though, like if you.
So, I kind of agree, but I also kind of.
But even through those good teachings, though, like let's say the Bible promoting somebody to be a better neighbor or a better this.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a good practice, but
But if you just leave it at that, who's to say what's a better neighbor? Maybe to me,
it's
a
all
better
relative.
neighbor is leaving you the fuck alone.
Yeah. So the only way to understand that message in its entirety is to be ego-free and absolutely absent-minded. To be expecting it, and not from not to be expecting it like as a that, but just expecting it as an energy that goes that way. Not as in like not being part of that energy to like create that. And that's the only thing that we gotta. It takes if you publicly display a selfish energy, who certain people might love it because they lag it, or they might
rally behind that person because they feel that they lack it.
Yeah, they're like they want somebody to just be like tell them, dude, like, or maybe they're by nature just like hearing what the fuck you're saying. It's like,
again, that could be partially laziness, and like you're saying, sometimes people just like it.
Just go with this guy.
But I mean, again, that laziness could be a natural disposition that they are prone to due to nature.
So they pick somebody else to let it go, and that's fine.
That's very true.
There's that laziness to a certain extent is sometimes fine. Not sometimes. It's fine. It's obviously it's to interpretation, but if it's something to like drive you to maybe jumpstart your shit, that could be a very positive thing. Yeah. You don't get better by like kind of like being nice about shit. Some of the times that puts us back on our feet, on our fucking like not on off our knees, is some asshole to slap us the fuck awake into a fucking reality. Yeah. And we can hate this guy or maybe hate that person, but
it's like a parent taking that stance and saying,
yes,
I may not necessarily know what's right for you all the time, but I have enough experience to know that this is right for you for right now, and you will learn from this experience and make decisions for their children.
The depth behind this is that the parent will choose a selfless act to do that, where other person does
not necessarily. I don't think that's 100% true. Because
it benefits the parent to have a child that's in line, not fucking up their shit.
Yeah,
so it still benefits them to some degree.
Yeah, that's why I love my kids, and I would teach them things that will be beneficial to them. But I'm also doing it for me because I want to live in a world
without fucking thing.
Logical, smart individuals who are kind.
Exactly.
And that's what I want my kids to be.
To better the world and to so they can be a part of a better world than what you've experienced. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think in a way that it may be seemingly unselfish. I'm trying to give them those.
It's a healthy practice to do.
But it is still. That's why it's not a selfless act. There's not really altruism in that. Yes, I love my kids and I want to raise my kids.
A side note with selfishness, there's nothing really wrong with it.
No, there's not.
If the selfishness is to better the self, you become a better example, which could benefit others' reality.
And that's one of those things where I didn't want to stay ego-free. Like the best part about life is, it's even if the shittiest moments, it's fun.
Right.
Where it's like
you weren't here for it, but we were, and this was a couple of episodes ago. But we were talking to Jeremy about a situation where he and I were playing tag in our front yard, and I jumped over this little box near the sidewalk, and not see because the top part of the chain link fence wasn't there, so the metal bar was missing. So all it was chain link fence in the middle of the night, in the dark. So my foot caught it, and I rolled into the middle of the street, and it could have been bad. But I laughed my ass off because it was funny as fuck.
And that's why we fucking cuss here. It was fun.
Well, do you ever notice with children, like if a child spills, like just falls out off of a bike, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas story thing brings up to my mind.
When we were teaching my son to walk, me and my wife would...
you know where I'm going with
We
this.
would just trip him. He'd be walking by and we'd just stick our foot out and trip him and he'd fall down and... It was more to say...
It's how you react to it is how they're going to react.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're like, oh no! Then they're going to fucking cry.
They'll panic.
They realize what's going on and they cry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So don't panic. Just like Douglas Adams used to say.
Make sure you keep your
wing
towel.
clean. Keep your wing clean.
Always have a towel with you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to bring the towel.
That's how you keep your wing clean.
Thanks for all the fish.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
The number 42 ounce.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our last episode
high
was
gravity.
42.
Yeah.
This one's 43.
Nice.
All right.
That's why it's a high gravity, dude. It's like fucking changes your fucking perception here. But that's a cool thing. The act of it is actually healthy only if it's applied through through an enforcement of saving. It's a really fucked up and fine line between doing good act or doing something evil. But if you truly believe it, it's what your belief stands in there. How it stands. Just remember, like, one thing: when you create this reality, Bastering Time and things like that, it's what's your purpose in it? Is it just to mess with somebody? Maybe if they're too gullible and need awakening, possibly. Yeah. In fact, who knows? Maybe you can just better their day by that, because maybe you just taught them to be like, hey man, you should pay attention or else you're gonna get hit by that fucking bus. So coming back to it, like when you manipulate somebody's reality, whether you would like to fuck with your roommate, decide to like find your one OCD friend to have problems with like closets, and you decide to open all the fucking closets around the house, you just created a reality. So imagine that person walking into and they see all the dresser drawers are open, they'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But it's not because like it's somebody broke in. Leave it clean, you know? And just leave it like that and see how he would respond when he gets that. Obviously, it's really messed up to fuck with someone with disability.
Just to go off of that, and it's more, that's
it's a
social experiment.
Yeah, it's a social experiment, but basically,
it does
it's
fuck
like
with reality.
It does.
Pavlov changed the reality, that dog's reality.
Expect something, or we were talking about the
one?
bell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You hear a bell, you get food. You hear a bell, you get food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You hear
like
a bell,
snack,
you expect food.
That's how you keep expecting. Yeah. The point is
His reality was changed because before that, a bell was just a bell and food was food. And then when you associate the two, you've changed that thing's reality. So maybe that's what it takes to change somebody's reality is association.
Every one of my animals that live on this property, the fish, the tortoises, the dogs, their reality is they see me coming, they know I'm going to feed them.
Right. Stop jacking up on your animals, man.
It's not what I'm seeing.
I'm gonna feed them some.
They don't get enough protein in their food.
Some great
just like Chuck said, how much are we willing to condition?
Hold on, guys. It just needs the gravy.
But I mean, it's to the point where I'll go outside, and if my tortoises hear me talking, they'll start banging against the gate, like and sticking their heads through the fucking.
They get excited about
like,
watching you jack off.
Looking around,
they're banging.
My wife thinks it's the funniest thing. They don't do that for her.
No,
because she doesn't feed them.
Oh, that makes sense.
There you go. That's their reality.
It's a Pavlovian response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
How well?
Just to further add to
Adam,
what
you're the bell.
Here's the thing.
I'm the bell.
But before they were your animals, they didn't have that behavior.
Yes,
and that's the practice. That's the last thing I wanted to kind of leave off this. I don't know, you guys. If you condition yourself to do so much, remember that the practice of doing that act without knowledge, it's also part of conditioning. If you do it once or twice, obviously it's not bad, and we all fuck up in the way where we think it's a fuck up, but it's a practice that we can do. It's not a practice to be conditioned to, because then it doesn't teach you the right. It doesn't.
That's where
give you the tools. It kind of lags them.
That's what I said. That's where I go with failure. I don't tend to get too despondent on failure because I know that it's a springboard for learning point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a learning opportunity.
Yes.
And the only way that I would be regretful of a certain situation would be if I didn't learn.
Yeah.
And maybe certain lessons are a little harder to learn and they may take a little more time. But those that like I said before, those failures, you can fail 100 times. It's that 101st time that you don't fail that is what it's all for.
Yeah.
That's how I really feel about
Failure is a teacher.
it. Now, if you're continually failing in the same way without
That's
improvement,
insane. That's another form of insanity.
you gotta stop that.
Yeah.
But if you fail 100 different ways,
Yeah.
and that 101st time, you try from learning all of the shit that you've learned so far, you try a different way, and you don't fail, you've changed your reality.
Yeah.
No longer is that an unattainable goal. It's now, and at that point, it never was unattainable
Yeah.
because you attained it. So it never was unattainable. You just had to fail that many times to learn the lesson that it wasn't unattainable.
And one must never forget and lose sight of the fact that it is always a possibility that it's attainable, no matter how many times when you're in the midst of the failure.
Right, but you
it's
also
still
have to remember to try and keep sight of boobs.
Remember
of titties.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys, one thing that's like really cool that was in
I'm
this.
sorry to interrupt you, man.
Oh no.
But the cool part
my
is
boobs.
that persistence always fucking wins.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Like I said, if you're
Well, if it's
persistently failing the same way,
Then that's insanity.
It's insanity, yeah, because you're not changing anything.
it's perspective.
but
There's too many variables to call it one thing.
But persistence coming from like
From memory.
One
One of my favorite paintings.
Result,
Persistence of
Memory.
persistence of learning, I think.
persistence of trying to get trying to
Improvement.
learn. Yeah, and
Even if it's a
progress.
moderate improvement.
Progress. There you go.
Progress.
There you go.
Persistent progress. There we go.
Persistence holds any expert's eye. No matter whatever the fuck you do, even if you specialize in a thin slices of a fucking kielbasa, you'll straight up like.
I love that.
You'll straight up fucking.
Now I'm hungry.
Me too.
Your persistence
I've got one in the fridge.
is your way of showing your conditioning in a training fucking background.
Mm-hmm.
That's your way to do it. And the persistence will, even if it has no lesson to it, I mean, even if it has no like lesson to like, oh, sorry. Even if it has a fucked up lesson where you got fucked over just because you were either A, psychotic, or B, you were just misled. There is still the persistence, the effort that you put in. It was the realest thing that you've experienced because there was muscle, whether it be metaphorical, fucking physical, or like just spiritual muscle that you trained. You have undergone that experience.
Yeah.
And so like you're conditioned now. So practicing persistence in anything that we do is a good thing. Just even if there's a failure, but.
Right,
that's
but
why it's not
the reason why I say just persistence alone is
alone. It's a dangerous one.
it's not.
You're just being an idiot, like you're doing the same thing.
Because like
Then it's persistence to what end?
Right, but you know
There's no
how
change
people say
or progress.
Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect is one of the biggest lies.
Yeah.
Practice makes permanent.
There needs to be a change in your practice.
Yeah, no, well, not even that. You have to practice correctly.
Yeah.
In order for it
Which
to
requires
make
a change in the practice.
perfect.
Yep.
If you're just practicing and not improving,
Yep.
or
stale.
practicing the incorrect way,
Yep.
you learn a different way. I mean,
You don't
it's
really
just-
learn an incorrect way, but you learn a different way.
Right.
Here's
Well,
But
practice can
say-
make perfect
if we're using it
insofar
in a
as
music
what you're
analogy,
practicing.
if we use it in a music analogy, say it was a concert pianist, because penis is a funny word. Say it was a concert pianist, and there was a piece that an entire orchestra and I were performing,
Yes.
and I had to learn it. I didn't know it very well, and I practiced it incorrect. Say I had one page out of order,
Yeah.
just by mistake, but I'm practicing it, but I'm practicing it incorrectly.
Yeah.
And a quarter of the way through this orchestra performance, I play
wrong-
stanza that's supposed to be like in the 3 or 4 more measures down or whatever, because a page was out of place.
Okay. So there's a curriculum that you need to practice to get a thing right, but there's no right way of practice that particular curriculum. But it's only going to work as far as mastering, becoming perfect, like we were saying, in just that. Right. But not progressing beyond it.
The idea is the progressing beyond it is the combination that you can create yourself.
Yes.
Because the combination you're practicing, you learn basics, like the basic 5 things of whatever the fuck, like say. But those basic steps, they have a combinations that so perfectly work harmoniously, or been at least tried at that level.
So you practice to become perfect in those different things.
But if you're a fuck up, the only way this lesson can be taken from here, and this can be a positive outcome, is if you understand the meaning behind the combination. Because if you learn that your story is fucked up because of a combination, you've just learned the importance of that fucking combination.
You got it.
You have practiced persistence in fucking detail in any way, but you just learned the importance of the fucking combination.
Yeah.
The one thing that like you were trained the wrong way, but does that mean you don't know how to punch? If you're like a fucking master made fun of you to train you, if you fucking taught you how to punch hard and like do this, if you were doing it wrong, you would fucking stop at the first place.
Well, it's like with the way that I play the drums. I don't play the drums like people who have been trained to play the drums play the drums. I never had a lesson. I just picked up sticks and I beat shit until it sounded cool.
Or like being goofy-footed on a fucking skateboard.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you a lefty?
I'm a right-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a lefty that plays right-handed instruments. It's
Right.
weird.
The only thing that's left-handed
But I
is
bat
me
like a lefty.
beating arm wrestling. That's the only fucking thing in left-handed. That's it. But to be honest, like, yeah, that's... Go on, sorry. Like, we could have...
I don't recall.
So the idea is that the combination, if we have that little extra something that defies us in a different way, like, but we gotta accept the lesson from it. Like, if we don't fucking take it as... why the fuck did we even do all this whole thing? Our existence meaningless if we don't take a single lesson from even the dumbest shit we do. Like, and now we reflect on it. We say it's like, oh yeah, we wasted time. But did we really?
We didn't waste any time. We went on many
Did we really?
healthy tangents.
Yeah, I think so.
But getting back to reality, can we just reality is pretty fallible.
It's awareness that makes it. You know,
I don't think anybody's. I've never heard anybody say that, but is
reality is fallible? Oh yeah.
Fallible.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's funny. I don't think I've heard anybody say it until I just uttered it. I'm sure somebody
That's
has.
a very.
But
I mean, there's ducks and chickens in my reality.
Foul. Reality is very fragile.
Yep.
And
It can be easily manipulated. Don't let anybody manipulate your reality
that's the
unless
thing.
it's for a positive
Another
turn.
just more proof that reality is fragile.
Yeah.
Is my reality up until about 16 or 17 was that Christianity was real.
Yeah.
And that reality was fragile enough to crumble
Exactly.
and me to learn new things.
I think any reality is probably just as fragile.
Right.
So a cool thing, and I like what you guys put right there is what I really want to put in my book at one point or another. It was one of the attempts I made. It's that when you come to this particular thing, you understand the opposite effect. So when alpha meets the omega, or maybe like something like if this shit sees its opposite, life sees death. The reality of
when
it
this
is
shit sees the food that was before.
It's like the yin and the yang. Technically, you have to understand reality. You have to embrace the opposite of the cause, whatever the fuck it is. You got to be
differentiate with the opposite.
Yeah, and the thing is, how willing is the other person is to accept that. So like whatever you see here, that shit, we practice it by like understanding it first, and then go ahead. If you want to play in it, you better be aware what the fuck the opposite action is gonna be, or because
if you want to plan it, you better bring the KY.
Yeah, dude, because who knows? Like maybe it's gonna be that fucking little shop of horrors, like that. Fucking like plant grubs out and bites your nuts off.
Exactly.
So like it's one of those things, you know. Be willing to give that opposite part of it if you want to understand it fully as whole. Give yourself in and be ready to like annihilate the existing.
Be flexible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On that note, check us out on the social medias. This has been another episode of Learning to Curse with Slava
And Chuck.
And that Adam guy.
That Adam guy. That Adam dude.
So
They finally named me.
drop some comments. We just
The floor is Slava.
talk to us. Drop comments. Tell us what you think about reality. And Slava, tell us about your day.
My day is actually kind of awesome. It was jump started by watching something the other night and seeing how much we like. Just watching shows, how to improve ourselves. And no joke. I've always been a fuck up, but like the time when you come back and you start make yourself more part of your reality, and you start building things, you start creating and enjoying things. So whoever's out there is enjoying all this shit, we engage, and I wanted to share that it's a good start to my day to know that I can engage with the outside environment to share this, and I hope if anyone are reflects in any way they can to improve others' day as well. So I don't know if I made it. I wish you all the best.